Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning in to this astrology part 2 of the torch, bringing you some inspiration, some light wisdom from the actual light of the stars. Such great wisdom from the ancients, and it has been such an illuminating, awakening, everyday understanding in my personal evolution, and I'm so excited to dedicate myself more to this for you guys. I've kind of got pulled away working for Greenpeace, caring for the planet so much, which is beautiful, but we can help in many ways and we create many things, but we have to align with what our core mission is, what's important to us. And this knowledge has been so hidden and done so much awesomeness in my evolution. And knowing this earlier on, would have transformed me to the beautiful awesomeness butterfly that I am today. Yeah. So that is where the passion comes from. It's very liberating. It's very just awesome, and it's to each his own, right? And resonate with what you like, and if it doesn't, then figure out why you're here. So I apologize that it's Thursday. This week we in understanding what this week is doing for us, right? Since this is a weekly take on the cosmos and what's going on with them. I would love to use these, but look, you can see my tablet, and I don't like it, but okay, whatever. So we started the moon in Taurus on Tuesday and yesterday, Wednesday, with the sun in Gemini, okay? The sun likes to, it's the heart space, and in Gemini, it's very fun and playful, but also very much wanting to communicate, an intellectual sign, right? Having the moon, the emotions, in Taurus, where it's exalted, is very much the story of how can I figure out the heart linking with what it's downloading and understanding and processing and communicating. Gemini is mutable air, so in astrology, to keep it narrowed down, because the cosmos goes so deep, at least for myself, right? We want to, I like to go back and as an anchor and to the modality and the element, right? And so the sun is finishing up in Gemini, which is mutable air. So we're adapting and processing and communicating and all of this stuff. Okay, we also have the nodes, the north node there. Okay, so we want to cover all the details. We want to get the facts. We want to communicate about, where the moon is. So the moon is exalted in the Taurus, and Taurus is the fixed earth. Okay, Taurus sustains like a tree. It provides so much stability. It's really beautiful. Sometimes I resonate very much so in my process as this butterfly that's transformed, or caterpillar, transforming to the butterfly as part of my process. And very much it finds a great stability. If you notice, butterflies will fly around and land on plants and trees and something sturdy, right? To maybe ground them a bit. And so Taurus would be the sturdy, grounding element of Earth, being that it's fixed Earth. And basically the energy it brings is wanting us to feel good. It's like, how can I feel comfortable? What pleasures do I seek in this wonderful earthly experience, It's very much associated as, this is for myself, I don't like to just believe stuff what I'm told, and I please, encourage you to do the same. It is never the same for everybody, no pattern, no this, but, patterns we can study, and so that's how we get statistics and things like that, very Gemini, and which is good with the nodes there, you know. So the sun will be leaving Gemini by the end of this week, but the nodes will be there. And we always want to go towards the north node and away from the south node, or Rahu and Ketu. And so with the north node in Gemini, it's very factual, very logical, though it's mutable because it's covering, kind of like Libra covers all the personality types for relationships and relates to all. Gemini is covering all the facts and figuring it out and commuting it and communicating and processing, and they talk with their hands. I don't mean to generalize, but so what was I saying? Okay, so we're trying to figure out what feels good in this earthly experience. And I don't go into all of the aspects. I would recommend Christopher Witecki as my go-to, and of course, you guys probably all know the Leo King is my go-to. As you know, they've just been such great light awarenesses and teachers of this beautiful awareness of astrology and my personal path. And I got a lot of Libra, so I've looked at all the stuff and I found those two. There's plenty more, but like there's no time in the day for all this shit, you know. There's plenty of time, in my existence, because time is not real. Okay, so we've been trying to figure out the past 2 days what feels good to us, and I'm not sure how your experience has been. You may have communicated some things, very Sun and Gemini, from the heart space, and it probably felt, really good to communicate that, to get that out. And we have to be careful. I talked about this in part 1, not to, to know our truth in the feeling of the body, okay? And the way to do that I'm learning is to breathe. Universal energy is the air. And I've been practicing chakra meditations and clearings every day, a couple times a day. And it really starts to tingle. The prana, the air that we breathe starts to move through us, and like Kundalini awakening happens. And my objective mind, I don't know about you, but can kind of be detrimental on my path. Like, oh shit, everyone's fucking going that way with this chakra shit, or with this fucking Kundalini stuff. And I understood that meditation was, important for like sitting and being still, but it wasn't something that I really like embodied on as a daily practice. And, this fucking time of our lives, the universe is like putting us, each of us, if you're willing to tune in and take the risk. You cannot just like be high all day. You can do what you want always, but I used to think, I used to live by, honestly, like, oh, I'll end up where I need to be all the time. And that may be true to a certain extent, but, there is a pull, a magnetic pull that wants to pull us off that north node, that wants to pull us off our light path. All the whys and all that, whole different thing. Sometimes they work together and brings it to it. So just know that it takes the fire in you, and it takes your heart, and it's actually very easy, though it seems hard because of the reality we've been used to living in. I know that's a lot. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'm going to try to focus back on the astrology for this part, okay? And so with that being said, we've been trying to figure out and communicate what feels good to us. And just so you know, that feeling stuff is not over. So this week, the process that we go through, and I do have some notes written here. So if you, see me looking down, it's just my own personal notes on things that, took like 5 hours somehow. Oh my gosh. And then I had to tune in my body and be like, fuck, I gotta clear my energy for this video and get outside. And just as soon as I did that, the sun comes out. I did that yesterday too. I'm like, ooh, we are creating our reality. The cosmos know I love that sun. Give me that sun. Okay, so today is Thursday. And so today, Mercury in Cancer, Mercury's been stopped at 14 degrees the past few days. I believe I first looked on Sunday when I started preparing for the torch. And it's now, when it goes retrograde today, it will be at 13 degrees. 13 is an incredible number in that we're going from, in this new age, coming from Pisces and into Aquarius. We are getting rid of this duplicity of shadow and light. Now, this isn't something that happens overnight. We are very much subject to the 3D world. We are very much subject to a death and rebirth concept, and to each having its opposite type energy. We've had this for so long, right? Well, coming into the age of Aquarius, a part of that is oneness and love for humanity. I don't personally believe that that means that you can't have one, love of your life or something like that. But, that kind of thing is very much boxy and restrictive. In my opinion, I feel as though, and I'll touch on it because everyone likes to know about love, right? It's an incredible, beautiful experience. And this is just my opinion from my experience, and definitely not going to resonate with everyone. But that's the thing, resonating an energy that flows. Like, if it flows good as friends and like partners or whatever, and your values are the same, and all the things, then it flows. And that's something we really haven't seen unless you've just been an awesome badass in your life, or your grandparents or your parents. Basically, we're coming from this society that's just like, choose a partner at this time in your life. And there's been so much awfulness in that, actually, of like, oh, choose it for money. Oh, choose it for status. Oh, choose her because she's got the most beautiful skin and will make you some pretty babies, and it's like none of us are paying attention to astrology, to the energy. There's, parts of like my South Node being in the 4th house has some ideas to it about, past lives, and it being really easy for me to be a mother, but going away from that this life and focusing more on my career. And I thank David Palmer for that awareness that I've struggled with, though I've lived it. It's a hard one, it's a hard one. And it doesn't mean, anything other than, there's a push towards, it's us taking action towards our North Node. This is knowledge for evolution, not just of ourselves and our own path, but for the whole of humanity, so that it can link and flow. Flowers, they don't ask questions, they just are. And so all we have to do is really just check into the body by breathing. And the more you do it, the easier it is to feel the tingles. I'm so excited. And, that's where you can align with the truth. That's where you can, the body's beautiful. So like I was relating to plants, right? So plants know what to do. Their being is all working together, right? And for us, we've been like, this head, I feel, is like been detached from like the body because of like the conditioning and the society and all this stuff, the programs of the powers to be, trying to empower us. And because the head is a trick of stories. But the body, it has this awareness. I mean, have you ever wondered how a million motherfuckers can, like, drive down the freeway and, like, most of the time we never get in a wreck, Or how, that's, like, amazing. Like, really allow yourself to take that in. Like, how the fuck does that happen, Or someone can eat the shittiest diet ever and live till they're 94. The body knows what to do. And I'm not encouraging you to eat whatever. I'm encouraging you guys to fill with your body because it's got this great awareness to it, and it is a practice. And the way to feed it is air. Yeah. Okay. Astrology. Okay, so Thursday we've got the moon that has moved into Gemini. And so we've got the sun and moon in Gemini. All right. So this will create a new moon. And that new moon is going to also be a lunar eclipse. All right. So again, we're going to go back to the modality and the energy of Gemini. So now we'll have the sun there. We'll have the moon there. We'll have Venus there, retrograde. And we will have the nodes there. Okay, so we've got a Gemini stellium. So again, it's like that. Wait a minute. No, that's not correct. That's not correct. I was about to say we had the new moon in Gemini a while back. That's right. It moves to Cancer, and that is where the new moon happens on Saturday and coming into Sunday, and we celebrate then the solstice. Okay, so let me back up. All right, so today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday, and partly of Saturday, we have the moon in Gemini. So again, it will be the stellium. On Friday, the moon will be caught in between Venus and the sun. So it'll pass Venus, and it will be in between Venus and the sun when the sun is at the last degrees of Gemini, which is very intense. People are constantly telling me like, oh, I was born on a cusp, I was born on a cusp, I was born on a cusp. And I'm always like, no, it's not exactly true, though I honor it's true for some people, but the way I see it and have known it and have learned it is 29 degrees, the end of a sign, is really fucking trying to get the last of that sign out. And the newness, 0 degrees of a sign, is really like bright, brand new, like, oh, I'm here, you know? And so they're both really intense energy, and it's not so much of this blending that has been passed around. Now, if you feel that that's what you found in your studies with astrology, I'm all about it, dude. You know, do what you do. That always, please, has to be a belief. We have got to stop this fucking restricting shit because of, you know, my belief and your belief, and that's the whole duplicity. Bringing me back to, thank you guys for being able to follow me. This fucking Gemini shit's got me like, so anyway, bringing me back to that 13th degree of Mercury retrograde, right? And so, actually Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer, okay? Let's not get confused here, right? And so that's our communicating, though Mercury rules Gemini. So there's just a lot. I know it's a lot. So anyway, so Mercury retrograde in Cancer at 13 degrees. 13 takes away the duplicity. It's said to be a special number. And so it's like we've got, like, imagine the 12 zodiacs or the 12 disciples or the 12 months, right? So 12 has very much been like a thing, you know, an important number in our understanding and universe. And 13 kind of brings it to a oneness. And if you add 1 and 3, it brings it to a 4, which is kind of a balance of the elements working together in the way I see it. 4 is also ruling Cancer. We could throw that in there as well. So it's a really interesting universe when you look at the numbers and patterns. All right, so we've moved from trying to understand what we need to feel good in our environment on Monday and Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. And, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we go to understanding and communicating even more so with the sun and the moon in Gemini on Thursday and Friday. And we've got Venus retrograde there. So be really, really clear on what it is you want to communicate, on what facts are resonating with the body. And again, go to meditation, go to prayer, take a moment, like in my part 1, where I'm just like, oh, I'll validate you, but not me. Why? Just kidding. So take a moment, again, let's take a moment. I like to breathe in my nose and out my mouth, because I feel when we breathe in through the mouth, it's kind of like you could be breathing in cold air and stuff like that. Oh my God, that must have sounded weird. Sorry. So by Friday, today, Thursday, Mercury goes retrograde. People freak out with this, right? Anything, in my opinion and my understanding, is that anything that's going retrograde is for introspection, okay? So Mercury rules the mind and communication. It rules Gemini and Virgo, the ones that are looking at the facts, okay? So it wants to know, it's processing how, what it's discovered, right? And all of the intellect of Gemini. How it can have fun and feel free, which is very important, and because it's a fun young sign. Like Jim Carrey has a moon in Gemini, and like he's a badass comedian. And though there is a duplicity, and this is not related to Jim Carrey, but there is a duplicity to Gemini energy, as it is the sign that rules the twins, right? And so it's very much like that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing. I don't want to call anybody out, but I had a past relationship where there was heavy Gemini, and it was like the experience was true. But this is the understanding of the patterns of this. And I am not saying that you who have Gemini have this, not at all, but you may be subject to it, and that's okay. Because we embody these energies for different reasons, okay? I mean, it's mutable air. It is picking up a lot. So it's good to take time to breathe and meditate if you have any heavy air signs or fire, because the water and the earth signs are very much kind of like in their body even more. And definitely not talking to just our sun signs. Please get a natal chart reading, know your stuff, know your ascendant, get your time of birth. You are so much more than the one sign. So let's see. Mercury retrograde is really causing us to go inward and decide, like, okay, out of everything that I've discovered of my values when the moon was in Taurus, and now when the moon is in Gemini, of what feels good and how I can play and where I want to be and all of these things, with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, of how I feel, okay? And Venus retrograde in Gemini, of what feels good, right? So it's so much feeling and so much introspection and so much mental activity of figuring out the facts based on, in my opinion, what we feel, because of all this like feeling energy, right? And so the way that I believe that you can really utilize this energy is, again, to go back to feeling in the body. You know, Gemini represents travel, and the travel we're being asked to do is an inward travel. It is taking that energy and going inward and really sitting. There's chakra meditations that are like 22 minutes. I've shared it on my Facebook page. And so fucking beneficial, you know, so beneficial. It really is. And just doing those deep breaths, and it may feel weird at first, if, you know, depending on how practiced you are. So by Saturday, the moon is going to leave Gemini, and it's going to go into Cancer. And so that would be leaving mutable air, where it's picking up, it's thinking a lot, it's playing a lot, it's very much moving around, and going into Cancer. The Cancer energy is the mother of the zodiac. It's very nurturing. It's very protective. It's very much, here, let's change backgrounds a little bit so we don't get too bored. Ow! Give us some new colors. Yeah, so the mother energy is very nurturing. She's protective to her family and tribe. And with the moon there, it can be very emotional, okay? So when it's in Gemini on Friday and passes Venus, it's like we discover what we truly desire to make us feel that fun, free, Gemini energy that we need for our values. And this is us as a whole, right? Because it's affecting us as a whole. And then a little different by our charts. And so, as it passes the sun, and with the sun, they both move into Cancer. We then celebrate the the summer solstice, right? And the summer solstice also becomes a solar eclipse this year, okay? So it's going to be a lot of feeling, a lot of nurturing and understanding what feels good. Things taken away by eclipses, things being brought to a greater heightened awareness in the earthly realm, as far as like what, let's see if I can get some better light, as far as like what we're wanting to harvest, and because basically that's what the summer solstice is. You know, it was a time where we're celebrating the first day of summer, the longest day of light, and there's a lot of ancient beliefs. I think I need to go on the other side for light and for less traffic flow. Sorry, but look how beautiful. So much beautiful art. And so by Monday, we've passed the eclipses, or the eclipse, the solar eclipse. And yes, we just had a lunar eclipse. And we're having another lunar eclipse coming in 2 weeks, okay? So we've reached the eclipse season where change happens. And we are going to have, we will have, with Mercury going retrograde today, we will have 5 planets in retrograde. 5 is the number for change. The Leo King mentioned that Neptune is going retrograde as well. Neptune in Pisces, where it's at home. So let's see. Monday the 22nd, we'll have the stellium of planets in Cancer. So it'll be the sun, the moon, the Mercury, and Vesta, the asteroid Vesta. Okay, so Vesta rules the heart, home, and family. If you've gotten my natal chart reading, I like to include a fixed number, a set number, a set amount of certain asteroids. And I include some beautiful art on the written version, though I've, had to implement the, what's it called? The video readings, because that's what people prefer, is to listen to a video, and I do too, but the written one has like beautiful art, and I've got the goddess of Vesta there, and so she rules the heart, home, and family or tribe, and she's the one that is holding the sacred fire. Okay, and so the summer solstice, I want to go a little bit into the past celebrations that we could see as ancient tribes welcomed in the summer solstice. It's the first day of summer, okay? So it happens on Sunday, and the sun moves into Cancer, which is, like I said, home, family, and tribe, right? And it's water sign, it's cardinal water. So it takes action for what it emotionally cares for. Okay, ancient Romans used to celebrate a religious festival called Vestalia, celebrating Vesta, the goddess, again, of the sacred fire of hearth, home, and family. And in this celebration, women were allowed to enter the sanctuary, or wherever they had their spiritual ceremonies, and they were able to give an offering to the goddess of Vesta in exchange for a blessing for their families. So I thought that was really cool. And so it's interesting that we currently will have that asteroid Vesta in Cancer as well. So really bringing that sacred fire to that nurturing, emotional, protective state of what does my body tell me I truly care about emotionally? What do I truly care about? Gosh, it is so loud. I really hope, like, my practice run was good, but I think it was when there wasn't as many freaking cars. I'll try to speak up and maybe hold this. And another ancient celebration by the Greeks was the Kravia festival, which was celebrating Kroros, who is the god of agriculture. Okay? And so during this celebration, slaves would be allowed to celebrate in the festivities, which was, very cool, of course, though it's not cool at all to have that. But maybe if we change this word, that's my rose-colored glasses I like to put on, but maybe if we change the word to, maybe it was just like maids and stuff like that. I don't know, but anyway, so they were able to participate, and what's really neat is that their masters would serve them instead during this celebration. So I thought that was really cool. And so what we see here is the home and family and our emotions. And family is who you're energetically aligned with. And most of the time, it's not the families we're born with, it's our tribes, It's the energy that is it's the twin-like energy between us all, not just this twin flame mentality, but where the energy is aligning, I did a post about the tribe change and how the Leo King had predicted it, and I'll probably talk a little bit further about that at the end of the video if I have time. If not, I might not, but just to give him kudos, of course he was right, and I could feel it in my own being of I guess I'll touch on a little bit now, of okay, well, they're not really accepting what I bring to the table in astrology, and they get a little too boxy for my taste on their beliefs. But again, my trouble with the Libra stuff and losing myself in energy by not practicing meditation and being in the body. But it did come in this really radical, unpredicted way where basically I was on trial, but not able to attend my own trial. And it's pretty fucking wild. And I know it's weird to laugh about shit like that, but I guess in my own way, when people are so off like that and at the same time on point, right? Because again, I'm here to spread the light of astrology, and they were unaccepting about it, but I want to do so much that I can place myself almost anywhere, right? And just the way it came, very Uranus and Taurus, out of nowhere, of okay, well, that was fucking weird. I got accused of things that were just very it's just so weird. It was just so weird. It's a tribe who partakes in plant medicines and some other psychedelics and stuff like that constantly, and I don't have a problem with it. I think it's beautiful and it raises awarenesses, and I think it's great. And I think, of course, all the time what I preach is to each their own, and I just don't get that same respect, and I just find it fucking funny that I don't know, 98% of the fucking time I'm the sober one, just because that's the way I choose to live, and I choose on occasion to partake in a plant medicine or a substance, and I mean very rarely, and may have and usually have a very cool experience as far as a spiritual awakening experience, because I don't, thankfully, gratefully so, have an addiction to such things, So anyway, nobody's wrong, nobody's right, but it was just so whoa. I mean, it was, one of those very I'll be honest, because I value fucking truth and honesty and transparency more than anything. And it's like, if I've kept my integrity there in that place with you guys, like, how could you ever, like, how could I share something with you? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, from my past or something, out of nowhere, you, like, all of a sudden I'm on the judge stand because I know why, because of the fucking astrology that they don't allow me to share with them, you know? Like, it's just so fucking all good. Because, you know, that's, you know, just another lesson for me of, like, stay with what my path is, you know? But I do love the tribe, and I learned a lot, and we went camping this past weekend, and, you know, it was very clear how I was being taught to as you observe signs and synchronicities and all the things, it was very clear, like, all the things that were happening, that I needed to be clear on the energy that I aligned with, because I've just lived a life of doing that for so long, of not, you know, just like, oh, I love you too, I love you, I love everybody, I'll help everybody. Fuck. Yeah, if you struggle with that, if you have, like, if you struggle with that period and need some help, I would love to help. And if you have prominent Libra energy with me, oh, shit, my battery's going, okay, then, you know, there's things we can do to help, and again, it just goes back to feeling the body and awakening that light awareness in the body. So thought that was cool about the ancient Greeks. Yeah, so Cancer energy is what you align with. It's the tribe that you align with, because again, like, we're removing these false restrictions of marry this way, learn this way, be this way, and it's like, no. Be you, and it will align, you know, be your authentic self, and it will align perfectly. And some fun superstitions that prior to Christianity that people used to bring into the summer solstice were dressing in flowers and herbs, and they would ward off spirits with St. John's wort, and it was known as Chase Devil. And I looked it up when preparing with this video today, and St. John's wort actually contributes to helping with depression, anxiety, joints, ADHD, like all kind of stuff. I was like, holy shit. I may just try that for, you know, to see if it may align me a little better, like with, you know, ADHD symptoms and depression and things like that. I love the natural things first, right? Yeah, going back to that tribe thing, like, it really hurts when our family doesn't accept us, right? Like, doesn't accept, especially right now, the 3D to 5D, doesn't accept our beliefs because they don't understand it. And it definitely hurts when you link with a tribe and connect in so many ways. And then, you know, there's not even the respect of, like, you know, being able to communicate or to see you, to see that beautiful, like, integrity that, you know, you may hold, or just, you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But energy, right? Energy. Stay aligned. So pagan European, this is my last thing of the history stuff. The pagan European tribes, like Celtic, Slavic, and what does that say? The friggin' third eye kind of gets me, like, I think it's Germanic. They would do the bonfires. They would do bonfires, and the belief behind it was thinking that the fire would boost the sun's energy during the summer solstice to provide good luck in their abundance and their harvest that year. Because it's all, like, you know, going back to these natural beliefs, it's connecting to the natural energy and to the natural flow of the universe, not this time-scheduled stuff that we've created with the technology world, right? And so, not technology world, I meant to say the, what's it called? gosh, it's failing me. The, like, business type world or whatever. Yeah. I feel rushed because my battery. Though it's all divine. So, yeah, I thought that was really neat. But yeah, it's all relative to, the true start of the year is with the first sign of Aries, which is in March, which is in spring when we plant the seed of fire, right? And coming from spring, we depend on the first day of summer and the summer energy of that sun, that beautiful heart energy, that creative space of the second chakra as well. It's all relative. We are beings on this earth connected to the earth, of what we consume as food, of what we, with the plants and things. It's all relative. And so with that, we find, let me take a drink. I need some synergy. What was I talking about? Oh, the seasons. Yeah, and so that heart space and the actual sun, the heart of the earth, right? The light of the earth gives life to what we planted in the spring to bring that good harvest, And so the seeds we plant in our inner garden, that sacral chakra, that creative energy gives it life, right? And so it's very beautiful, very, very beautiful. And always linking it with the heart to give it that emotional power. So that's a beautiful thing we've got going on there. And so I want to also touch on the eclipses, okay? So full moons are for releasing, right? And new moons are for new starts. The culminating buildup of energy causes extremeness in our emotions as the moon rules our emotions and controls the tide, right? So the lunar eclipse we had last full moon was in Sagittarius. Sagittarius represents beliefs. It's the only sign ruled by Jupiter, looking at the highest belief as a guru, looking at its goals, right? Or where it's going, the direction it's going, because goals would be more like 11th house. It rules foreign lands and foreign affairs and all kind of stuff, right? It's farther away. It's adventurous, right? Mutable fire. And so very much with that lunar eclipse, that so let me just go over the eclipses. So a lunar eclipse happens when the sun, earth, and moon are in an exact alignment, and the earth being between the sun and moon, okay? So causing a shadow, the earth causes a shadow to go over that full moon, okay? And so that's the eclipse. It's cutting out something in the emotional body from the moon, the lunar eclipse, right? So it's taking away a belief. We no longer believe in something, right? Because it was in Sag. And then we have the solar eclipse happening in Cancer as our sun moves from Gemini to Cancer. The solar eclipse is sun, moon, earth. So as the moon goes to the sun and creates a new moon, and there's a perfect alignment with the earth as well to make it an eclipse, the moon casts a shadow on the earth, okay? So that black moon, because it's getting illuminated on the other side, right? Earth sees the black side, right? So it's casting a shadow on the earth as the moon passes the sun, okay? And that's called the solar eclipse in Cancer. And Cancer is what we feel, okay? So it's cutting away and bringing us to an inner awareness. It's illuminating as well, right? Because the shadow brings us to illumination as we feel into it. And so as that shadow falls on the earth, something that we felt changes. Something that we felt becomes more clear after it's eclipsed, after it changes, after it's taken away, after that shadow falls, just like with the lunar eclipse. And then in 2 weeks, on the next new moon, which will be in Capricorn, we will be having another lunar eclipse. And so the awareness will be of, what am I building? Okay, so this eclipse season, to me, and my interpretation, is Sagittarius. What do I now believe? And then the solar eclipse this weekend, what do I now feel? And then the lunar eclipse coming, what do I now want to build? So stay open because it's changing, and stay in tune with your body, okay? I think I'm going to wrap it up. Let me just make sure I covered everything. So we went through the eclipses. And remember, it's going to be a new start, too, because it is a new moon. We went over the Greek stuff. We went over all the things. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love y'all so much, and I love, to spread this awareness. Thanks so much for tuning in. Share it, like it, do all the things. And I would love to interact with you. So if you have questions, if you'd like, I have a free astrology reading. It's called the Astrology Trinity, where I go in depth of your sun, moon, and ascendant or rising sign. You need your time of birth for that. I can kind of figure it out with you if you don't have it, but that is like absolutely if you don't have it, because that takes a lot of work, depending on your age, really. I love you guys so much. Enjoy this beautiful, sunny awesomeness day. I'm so grateful to be in SoCal. Look at that sun and them palm trees. Ow! Love you guys. Here's some art for you. See you soon. Peace.